Hi, this is David, and today I'm going to show you how to make a tabletop puppet for our tabletop Zoom puppet show. There's several things about our puppet that are important and maybe a little bit unusual. One is, with tabletop puppets, the sticks that we control them with come down from the top. On a normal puppet, they come from the bottom. But because we're going to be using this on Zoom and we're going to be pointing our webcam down like this, we want our sticks to be on the top so that we can control it. The other thing that's super important is that our puppets are going to have joints. Now, a joint is a part of your body where it can move. So where two bones meet, but there's flexibility. So my elbow is a joint, and my wrist is a joint, and my knee is a joint. Even my fingers are joints. So our bodies have huge numbers of joints. Our puppets are only going to have a few. You can maybe have one or two joints where your puppet can move. And now I'm going to show you how to make them. So I'm making a pigeon, and I've decided that my pigeon is going to have three different parts that are connected by joints. It's going to have a head, a body, and a wing. So I'm going to show you how to make that right now. So our goal is to choose a base color. I'm choosing gray because gray clay is good for a pigeon, and I'm going to make the main part of the pigeon's body out of that, and then make the details out of another color. So I'm going to add some details to my pigeon using other colors like red and yellow, but I've decided that because I'm going to use this with a Zoom background, I'm going to use warm colors like red and yellow only for my creature, and I'm going to use cool colors like blue for the background so that the two will stand out from each other. All right, and I'm leaving the parts separate that I want to later be able to connect. So I want to be able to connect my head to my body, but I want them to be able to move. So I'm going to take a stick like a barbecue skewer or a chopstick and use it to make a little hole there. You want to make sure the clay that's around the hole is pretty thick and not too cracked. So if there's cracks in it, you want to smooth over them with your finger, because this is what's going to hold our puppet together. These little holes will be the joints where it can move, but it'll be attached with string. So I'm going to make another hole for my wing where I want my wing to go, and just make sure that the two holes for the wing and the place where I want to attach it will line up just right. You're also going to use little barbecue skewers to control your project, and there's two ways to attach them. One is to just put the barbecue skewer straight in, just poke it in like that, and that way you'll have a really strong grip on your character. You'll have perfect control over it. Another way to do it, if you want more flexibility, it's a little trickier, is to make a little hole, and then when we're done and we've cooked our clay, you're going to put a string through the hole and tie it to your control stick. That's a little harder, and it's for parts that are smaller, like a hand, that we might want to have more flexibility about how we move it. But for the main body, I'm going to take my control stick and just stick it into my clay, and I can bake my clay with my control stick inside, and it'll be super strong when it comes out. So I haven't cooked my pigeon because I don't have an oven here, but let's pretend that you cooked it. So you're going to cook it at 275 degrees with a grown-up, and if it's pretty big, you could cook it for half an hour. If it's small, you could cook it for 15 minutes, but cook it at 275 degrees and put it on some parchment paper, cookie paper, or a piece of wood so it doesn't get burned in your oven by touching directly to the metal pan. Once it's cooked and it's nice and durable, we are going to start adding the string, which is going to connect the different parts of our puppet. So I'm going to take a scissors and cut off a little piece of string, and I'm going to take it and put it through the hole in the neck here. And this hole could be a little smaller. I don't want it to be so big that it's distracting to my audience. And I'm going to put the string through the hole in the neck, and I'm going to overlap them. So the two parts of my pigeon, the head and the neck, are joined, and then I'm going to tie a simple knot. You don't need to know fancy knots. It's just like the knot you're tying if you started to tie your shoe, the first step. And you pull that tight, and then you tie the same knot again. So I would just do the same thing. And pretty soon, with 2 or 3 of those, it'll become relatively strong. And if you don't like it, you can always put a spot of hot glue on your knot. That's a fun trick. If you put hot glue on a knot, that knot ain't never coming undone. So now I've knotted my bird head onto the rest of my bird, and now I have a head that can really move, which is pretty darn cool. Once your strings are on nice and tight, and maybe you've added a spot of hot glue to them, you can cut off the extra string so that it's not too distracting. I wouldn't use orange string like I did because it doesn't look very good. Use some white or gray string so that it doesn't pop out.